Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about what I want to see in Final Destination 6 Bloodlines and every installment after that. So, about 2 years ago, maybe a year, I did a review on the very first Final Destination movie. And the first one is my all-time favorite. I think it came out in 2000. No. Well, okay. I don't know what year it came out in, but I know I watched it in 2001. And so, like, the story with that is that, like, I never watched horror growing up because I wasn't allowed. Scream was the first like slasher movie I saw and fell in love with. Then when I was in like I think like Blockbuster or probably like the store, I saw Final Destination. I didn't know who nobody was on the cover. It just had this eerie, odd, and weird look to it. And I knew it was a horror movie because of the skeleton in the cloud above like the people. And I took a chance. Not being into horror, not knowing who the cast was, never seen a trailer, I took that chance and I fell in love with that movie. And I've been a fan of that one ever since. It is my all-time favorite. Then I saw the second and the third one on television, and for the most part, I don't like the second movie, but I really enjoy the third. Even though the third is not perfect, I still enjoy it. Fourth one I hate, and the fifth one is just okay. I find it to be very boring and more like a drama with some really like lackluster kills and like some bad CGI in 3D. But I like that twist ending of it being a prequel. And so with Bloodlines coming out in just a couple of days and everything, this is a franchise I like. I want to see get better. It seems like with every sequel, they don't get that much better. And they feel more like TV movies or direct-to-DVD movies or streaming movies, but with just a bigger budget when it comes to that of the sequels. And so I want to see this franchise continue, because you're dealing with not an actual slasher, you're dealing with death itself and cheating it. You can make multiple movies out of that if they're just done right. And when the sequel started to do bad, what happened? It ended with the fifth movie. And then it took about 13 years or so just for them to come out with this sixth installment. And from what I heard, it's supposed to be a reimagining, but I think it also is supposed to connect to that of the others. If not, then it's a straight reboot. Don't know until it comes out. And I don't know when I'm going to see it and stuff, because I don't go to movie theaters no more. But there are some things that this franchise needs to correct. And they don't always correct it. They just keep on making them because they know people's gonna watch them and stuff. This is literally Warner Brothers and New Line Cinemas, like big cash cow and everything. And so and I truly thought they was done, but of course everybody's into nostalgia and reboots and yeah. So things I want to see going forward with these movies and stuff is bring back the creator who wrote this movie, Jeffrey Reddick, and bring back the original director, James Wong. They did a phenomenal job in that first movie. The writing is on point. Jeffrey's known for writing horror type stuff. When he was 14, he wrote a prequel to Nightmare on Elm Street, but it got rejected and stuff because he was only 14 and it was unsolicited. And James Wan is just really good when it comes to this franchise. James also directed the third movie. And you can tell it has his feel with the clues and premonitions and the deaths and the visions and stuff like that. They are a really, really, really good duo. The second and the fourth movie had the same writer and director, and they just could not cut the mustard. And the fifth movie had a completely different team who just seemed very unaware of what they was doing, despite one person working in tons of horror stuff. And, I just think they are a very, very good duo and they need to come back. James hasn't been back since the third, and Jeffrey hasn't been back since the second. And it's weird that he left his own franchise that he created. He doesn't even executive produce them no more, which is odd. Fix the CGI and leave 3D alone. The first three movies had really good CGI and practical effects. Bring back practical effects. There was always a combination of those two. But then you got into the fourth movie and they just went the CGI route, and same with the fifth. And it shows. It's weird because as the years progress, CGI has been getting worse. So they really need to fix that and go back to that of practical effects. Take your time with the vision that leads up to like the death with the clues and stuff. That's something James was really good with. It was like a slow rhythmic dance. You got to follow the path. You will see somebody knock something over, or just like something will leak, and then it will go to like a trail. Things weren't necessarily moving on their own, and you can always tell when something's going to happen. Like things will be rattling around. There'll be like a wind, something like that. It builds up your suspense. It builds up your disbelief, and it builds up your fear factor till you know that death is a coming, and make sure the death is good. With the second and like fifth and fourth, everything just happens so quickly and stuff. You need that time for your eyes to go from scene to scene, building up to what death is about to do, because it's spine tingling. And not only that, but no more death fake outs. I hate that. In the second and the fourth, they will build everything up to how death is coming for somebody. So you're waiting for it to happen, only to be a haha moment, and the person doesn't fall for like the trap. Then they go outside and then they randomly die because of a freak accident. I don't like that whatsoever. Also, if you're going to like do a second mass murder premonition death, don't do it right after the other one. Like the third movie did that, and that was new, fresh, and innovative. But then the fourth movie did that, and it just seemed like they was just copying. Don't copy right back to back. Give it some time and everything. And if you're gonna do that, do not end it like the third and just cut the movie off. Do like the fourth movie and show those people dying. And try to leave somebody alive. That would be nice. Also, don't bring back a person who's alive just to kill them off in the next movie. That's something that bugged me with Claire in the second movie. Also, if somebody can't make the return for a next sequel, don't kill them off in a stupid death like Alex and hit him in the head with a brick. That was a lame murder. He couldn't be mutilated. Like, come on now. Also, make sure that the characters feel original and stuff, because there's always the Carter character, there's always the Claire type character, there's always the Alex type character, there's always the Billy type character, you know what I'm saying? And we see that in almost every movie. What if the next movie, say like the Carter type character is the one getting the premonition? Here's the hot-head butthole and everything, and who hates everybody, but for whatever reason he has a change of heart and tries to save people. That's original. It has not been done yet. Also, keep only one person having the premonitions. I don't like it when the second and the fourth tried to have other people seeing visions and stuff. That really irritated me. Oh, make sure the cast can actually act. That's been a problem ever since the second movie. See, the formula to this franchise is that they mostly get television stars who are just starting out, who are prominent in television, or they're just starting out in movies. It's been that way since the first one, and for the most part, the acting has always been so-so with everybody throughout the entire franchise. But at least in the first one, everybody felt a little bit more believable. But the Stifler guy was just acting like a weird, watered down version of Stifler. And he's the only one that felt out of place and everything. But since the second movie, the acting has been getting worse and worse and worse and worse. 2, 4, and 5 has some of the worst acting I've ever seen, especially the fourth. The third one was redeemable because of the Wendy character. Her acting was so good because she had expressions, and other people in the movie was pretty good as well. You know, and then you got like the sixth movie, which has not come out yet. But I looked at the cast, and most of those people have been in television. Now, Brett Bassinger, I love her in Stargirl. I also liked her in All Night. But she is a TV actress and stuff, and it shows. So I don't know if she's going to do a good job in this next movie. This one guy, I don't know his name, but he's the tattoo dude with the piercing in the teaser trailer. I remember him for like at least 4 different projects and stuff. Now, he's really good, but only in television and only when he's playing a bad guy. I saw him in this one horror movie, and he played like the stoner drunk type dude, and he just overacted. He needs to be a villainous type person. Then you have the guy who played Junior in the first season of Chucky. He's so-so, you know what I'm saying? So they really need to get like a better cast and stuff. Also, it would be kind of nice if not every movie was connected. It would be nice if every movie was a solo movie. That way you can reinvent the rules because it's a different universe. Or you can do a trilogy and keep it as a trilogy connected. Then the next trilogy, completely different rules and stuff like that. It will also be nice if they set it in different time periods. I'm really curious to see what this movie will look like in the Old West in the 1950s, far into the future, because everything's just so close to the time we're in now. You need a new William Bloodworth type character because Tony Todd died, may he rest in peace. Some of the movies, because the sixth one is going to be the last one he's in, but he was absent in the third, in the fourth, and in the fifth. But his voice was heard in the third as the devil and everything in the little amusement ride. You need that William Bloodworth type character. You need him to stay consistent because they changed his personality in all the movies. In the first one, he was mysterious and you didn't know if he was good or bad, and he was creepy. In the second, he's more quirky and everything. Then in the fifth movie, he's kind of aloof, mysterious, but then he's telling them you have to kill in order to save your life. So he's technically a bad guy. And then in those other movies, he's not even there. And people found out about Death's plan and everything through the internet from the original movie. You need that type of character. And because he's not here no more, you got to find somebody who's known for doing horror movies of the past and who's really good at acting and has that mysterious mystique. Next is tell an actual story and not just rely on gore. That what was so great about the first movie. The first movie was the template. We didn't know what the heck was going on. We didn't know much about the characters. We got little tidbits here and there, but you felt bad for these people because they escaped death. And then you throw in all the gore. It seems like with every passing movie, it's like the Saw movies. They just have a bunch of gore and barely a story and everything. And because the characters are so unlikable, you don't feel invested and you could care less if they die. And that's another thing. Make the characters likable and stuff. Now, one thing I want to see change, if you're gonna cast somebody like an actress that I like Brett Bassinger, put her in the movie throughout the movie and not just a flashback. She plays the younger actress who's like the grandmother and stuff. I actually remember the grandmother. She's from The Haunting Hours, Sliders, stuff like that. One cool thing about Bloodlines is that finally, after all these movies, after all this like decades and stuff, the person getting the premonitions is finally a person of color. The person who plays the granddaughter is Latina and stuff, or Filipino or something like that. So that's really cool to finally see. And that's something I want to see go forward with all the newer movies and stuff. Because every person who's ever had the premonitions in the past have always been white. And last but not least, bring some people of color into this franchise. All of these movies are predominantly white. All 6 movies. It has an all-white cast, and every movie only has two or one black people. And so normally, like the William Bloodworth character, he's black, but he's barely in the movie, so he kind of doesn't count. But and then you have that best friend type role, or like a buddy type role, and they're barely in the movie. So the black people are always barely in the movie and stuff. And that really pisses me off. There's always only one or two. Then the Asian people got it even worse. There's been about 5 Asian people all throughout this movie, and they either get less than 20 seconds of screen time or less than 1 whole minute. But yeah, I'm not even joking. Like, some get less than 20 seconds, some get less than like a minute, and you never know none of their names and stuff. And stop giving them a medical profession. One was a dentist assistant. One was like a doctor. The other was a massage like therapist and everything. And then in the third movie, one of the people who escaped like the mass murder wreckage in the beginning of the movie, you don't even know it because she's barely in the movie, only for a few seconds. Then you get all the way towards the end of the movie, and it turns out she escaped like the wreckage and everything. And then as soon as you find that out, she dies. Seriously. Now, in the 6th movie, we're finally gonna get an actor of Filipino descent. The guy who played Junior in the Chucky movie. Now, I don't know if he's Filipino as in like Asian or Latino or both, but he's Filipino, and I have no idea how long he's gonna last in the movie. We're also getting our very first, or maybe second, but I'm pretty sure first, Latino character and everything. I'm still not sure what the mechanic was in the 4th movie because he was barely in the movie. But like, we're finally gonna get like a Latino character. How long she's gonna last? Heck if I know. And we got some black girl in the movie, and there's no telling how long she's gonna last. And of course, there's Tony Todd's character, and he's black. And if they do, and when it comes to the black girl, I don't want to see her be a stereotype. In the 2nd movie, the black guy was like 3 stereotypes rolled into one. He was the smooth talking black guy, then he was the angry black guy, then he was the crazy black guy waving the gun around and trying to kill himself. He was the only person freaking out so bad that he tried to kill himself. I just remember there was a Latino. There's 2. There's 2 Latinos in the 2nd movie. Okay, so this girl is not the first Latino in the franchise. She's now the 3rd. I just now remember, because I don't like the 2nd movie, and I just now remember the cop and the pregnant lady. But the pregnant lady barely had anything to do. At least the cop had something to do, so that's nice. But the black guy was the only one freaking out and waving a gun around and trying to kill himself. Then you get the 4th movie, and that black guy was a whole lot better, but then he tried to kill himself. And it's like, what is up with that? Then in the 5th movie, they had a really nice black guy that I appreciated. Only problem is, he was written to be totally white and everything. Then you got the 3rd movie, and that black guy was just a pain in the butt. And so I'm hoping this black actress will be a heck of a lot better and stuff. But yeah, like these movies are predominantly white in everything, and I'm tired of seeing that. And I don't care what a bunch of angry like white YouTube dudes who talking about how they hate wokeness and everything. I want to see people of color in this franchise. So those are some things I want to see going forward in this franchise because it's a pretty cool, interesting one. This was like my first love of horror movies. Scream my first love of slasher, but this is my first love of horror and everything. Either this or 13 Ghosts. I can't remember which one, but anyway. It's a really cool franchise. Not every movie's perfect, you know what I'm saying? But like it is an intriguing, in my opinion, an original type plot. I've never seen another plot like this where people's having premonitions, they see everybody's dying, they try to save everybody. Some people survive, but oh no, like they were supposed to die and it threw like death's plan out of whack. And now they're cheating life trying to be immortal. I've never seen nothing like that. And then with this new movie coming out, apparently the reason why it's called Bloodlines is because this one woman this is always happening to people in her family. So I guess it gets passed down to generation of like the premonitions and stuff like that. Now that's different, but I don't know how I like that and everything. But it's different. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.